Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Today's chapters are Hosea 6 and 7. Now, as we read these chapters, I can't help but think of parents who are agonizing over their children. I read on News 24 today of a woman who's had to fly over to Thailand because their daughter has been caught smuggling drugs into that country, and we know there's a death sentence for that in that particular country. Imagine the agony of that particular mom. Imagine your child going off into crime and you pleading with your child to stop making those decisions. That's what I think we see in chapter 6 and 7, the heart of Hosea. This is how he starts it. He says, "Come, let us return to the Lord." He's pleading with his people. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. God is good. He'll heal us. He will bind up our wounds that we may live in his presence, it says here in verse 2. As surely as the sun rises. Now, I'm on the beach here and the sun is busy rising. He says, as surely as the sun rises, he will appear. He will come like winter rain. We don't expect it rain in the winter, but God will come. He will come as winter rain, like spring rains that water the earth. Come on, let's return to him. He's urging his children to do so. Now, the rest of these two chapters, he uses poetry. He uses imagery. He uses like 16 different pictures. We're going to look at some of them to try and lurch his hearers, to bring them to their senses, to understand. He's grasping for words and images and pictures to describe them, their lot in life. This is what he says this: your love is like morning mist, like early dew that disappears. A few moments ago, there was mist hovering over this lagoon, but as the sun came up, it just evaporated. He said, your love for God is like that. It's just evaporated. He uses that image. Then he says this, because the previous chapter had said God is not accepting your sacrifices. He says, I desire mercy. I want to see a changed heart rather than sacrifice. And the acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings. Don't bring your lambs and your sheep and everything to come and sacrifice. God's looking at your heart, is what he's saying. Then he switches the picture. He says, Ephraim, which is his name for Judah, he says, you've become adulterous. He uses that. He uses the picture of a husband straying from his wife, or a wife straying from her husband. And he says this, burning like an oven whose fire the baker need not stir. So he says there's a fire in your heart, but it's burning for the wrong thing. And it's like an oven that's got out of control. The kneading of dough that still has to rise. He says, actually, there's something wrong inside of you. He flips the image now and he says, your hearts are like an oven. They approach him with intrigue. Their passion smolders all night. In the morning it blazes like a flaming fire. He says, there's something going wrong in your heart. He's trying to grab images to describe it. Then he says this. He says, Ephraim mixes with the nations. Ephraim is a flat loaf, not yet turned over. Foreigners sap his strength, but he doesn't even realize it. He says like a baker, he's trying to describe, he says you're like half cooked. Because why? Because you're hanging with the foreigners that don't serve God. He says there's something wrong. He says, he's talking about the people of God now. He says his hair is sprinkled with gray, but he doesn't notice. Hey, listen, my hair's gone gray, badly gray. And I noticed the first time the streaks started coming and before they started falling out. He says, like, you're going old. You're losing your strength. You don't even know it. Why? It's like you're just being slowly swept away from God's presence. He says, Ephraim is like a dove, easily deceived and scentless. Now calling to Egypt, now calling to Syria. He says, like you a stupid dove that's just going in the wrong direction to Syria and to Egypt to help you. Don't you know who's going to help you? When they go, I will throw my net over them and pull them down like birds in the sky. You see all these seagulls that are flying off here. They go in flocks. I can see a whole bunch of them over there. Let me see if I can just take this picture and show you, but I probably can't really see it. But there is a whole host of them like barking off in the water. It would be very easy if we had the right vantage point to throw a net over them. He's saying, as you wander off to Egypt and you wander off to Assyria, it's like It's like you're going to be ensnared. You're going to be entrapped. He says, I long, this is God speaking now, I long to redeem them, but they speak falsely about me. They slash themselves, appealing to their gods for grain. I've been thinking about this. People go through great lengths to try and earn money. 4th job, 5th job, 6th job, earn money, slashing themselves, appealing to those gods to try and help them. And they could just be coming to me. I train the strength of their arms, and they do not turn to the Most High. They're like a faulty bow. He says, I trained them, but now they're aiming in the wrong direction. This chapter and the previous is like a dad, like a mom, using every metaphor, picture, language that's possible to encourage their children to return back to the straight road of following God.